Hello, my loyal followers. Something that I love that I have not had the chance to talk about on this channel yet is wrestling. In the near future, I will probably do a video about pro wrestling and how it's changed and affected me throughout my life, but not today. It's a new year. Okay, well, it was a new year when I started working on this video, but with current events being what they are, and, well, the state of the world being what it is, it's been kind of hard to focus on making new content. And to make matters worse, the world of professional wrestling is crazy exciting right now. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. But things are changing at such a breakneck pace that it's hard to keep up with, and if I procrastinate on making a video like this, then I run the risk of the entire landscape and everything changing by the time I'm ready to film. So, no more procrastinating. I am officially throwing my hat into the proverbial pro wrestling fantasy booking ring. And these are the top 10 matches that I want to see in 2021. Now, I'm going to be upfront with you. I do not watch WWE at all anymore. And I'll probably do a video on why that is in the near future. Also, you're going to figure out really quickly who my favorite wrestlers are. I really did try to make a list with a lot more variety in it, but I have to be honest with you, and these are the 10 matches that I'm most hoping to see this year. So there's a few names that are going to pop up on this list multiple times. Deal with it. It's my fucking list. Also, you may say that I am biased in favor of AEW. And you'll be right. I watch Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling whenever I can, and I do try to keep on top of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But AEW is the promotion I'm most invested in and excited about at the moment. So, without further ado, number 10. Cody and his wife Brandi are expecting a baby. So, first and foremost, congratulations, Cody and Brandi. I couldn't be happier for the two of you and your family. So, naturally, Cody is going to want to take some time off in the near future. He's currently building up to a program with Shaq. Yes, that Shaq. Apparently he's been trying to get inside the ring since the 90s. And in their most recent promo, Arn Anderson made it seem like this might be the big match that Cody goes out on. But that doesn't make too much sense to me. Wrestling tradition says that you go out on your back. Whether you are leaving permanently or just taking a little break, you want to use your last match or your exit match to give someone else momentum. And I just don't see the point of Cody giving Shaq, of all people, the rub right now. I don't know exactly when the baby is due, but since we're using this match to put eyes on the product, let's get as much as we can out of it. You don't want one of your major talents to look weak, losing to a non-wrestler. And you also don't want to embarrass a mainstream celebrity like Shaq. And no, inserting Jade and Red Velvet into this match doesn't help, because when it's all over, either Shaq or Cody is going to have their hand raised with their partner. So what I'm hoping for is that their match at Revolution ends via shenanigans. Then we could kick off a feud that AEW can really use to put someone over. And who would benefit the most from being Cody's last big match for a while? I think the person who would stand to gain the most is none other than Adam Hangman Page. Page's story has been heading in unexpected directions since AEW first started. He was supposed to be the company's golden boy, their chosen one, but he failed to become the first AEW champion, and ever since he's been on a self-destructive path, separating from all his allies and slipping further and further into alcoholism and depression. And maybe this could be the catalyst that kicks off his redemption story. He starts by challenging all the people who let him down, namely the other members of the elite, beginning with the American Nightmare. So have Cody do the job and put over Hangman big on his way out the door. The two of them would have an amazing match, and then Hangman can go after the Young Bucks and finally Kenny Omega on his climb back to the top of the company. Number 9. Okay, so I'm cheating a little here. A couple of weeks ago, the Inner Circle came out, and MJF and Chris Jericho were all like, well, we want to go after the Tag Team Championship. And then Santana and Ortiz were like, hey, we're the tag team in this group. And Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager were like, well, what about us? We're here too. So the following week, they all had a big triple threat match to pick who would be the official tag team of the Inner Circle. So what do Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager call their new tag team? Sammy and Jake? Guevara and Hager? No. They call themselves Sammy Hagar. As in Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker, the lead singer of Van Halen. All right? They even got Sammy Hagar to do a cameo video giving the new team his blessing. I'm sorry, but this is the greatest name in the history of tag teams. I just want to see them all the time now because the name is so damn funny. Have Sammy Hagar fight anybody, and I will be sitting there laughing my ass off the entire time. This joke will not get old. Number 8. Speaking of Sammy Guevara, I think he's probably the most talented person on AEW's current roster, and his best matches to date have been against other, smaller guys who can also do the high-flying risky stuff. And there's none riskier right now than Darby Allin. If these two ever go head-to-head in a big match, it'll be a spectacle like no other. You know they're each going to try to outdo the other. And AEW would be crazy to not put gold on Guevara in the near future. He is the perfect choice to take the TNT title off of Darby Allin. And this would be a great program for, like, the end of the year. I say, put this one way down the line. It would cap off a long title reign for Darby Allin while setting up a great push for Sammy as a heel champion. Number 7. On the most recent episode of Dynamite, the Young Bucks revealed that if they win the Tag Team Battle Royale this coming Wednesday, they can pick anyone they want for their next title defense. Even possibly their allies, the Good Brothers. As certain as I am that we will eventually see the Bucks versus the Brothers, and it will be awesome, I'm a child of the Attitude Era, and I love the idea of gang warfare in wrestling. I would love to see the return of the Bullet Club in full force in AEW. I want to see Omega, Gallows, Anderson, and both Nick and Matt Jackson all team up at least once before, they implode. And since Jericho and MJF are going after the tag titles anyway, the Inner Circle is the perfect team to oppose them. Yeah, I know it's a little reminiscent of the Stadium Stampede match that we had a few months back, but with the Good Brothers and MJF in the mix now, it's too good an opportunity to pass up. And if you do it right, it furthers everyone's storyline and sets up more matches that we want to see in the future. Like... Number 6. We already know that this one is coming, and I am stoked for it. Since MJF and Wardlow joined the Inner Circle, tensions have been high, especially between MJF and Sammy Guevara. At risk of sounding like a broken record, these two are the most promising young up-and-coming stars in wrestling today, and it's only a matter of time before they go head-to-head. And the more they drag it out, the more excited I get for when these two eventually clash. AEW is great at long-term storytelling. And they're also great about saving stipulation matches for when they're really important. So I say give these two a ladder match, or even better yet, a steel cage match. And it could be the career-making performance that cements them as the biggest stars of the next generation of wrestling. Numero 5. Like I said earlier, eventually we will get the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers. And when that happens, Kenny Omega will have to pick a side. In the last month, Kenny has teamed with Don Callis and the Good Brothers to stage a takeover of Impact Wrestling. So, given his new heel persona, when it comes time, It makes sense for Kenny to side with the OG Bullet Club members. Then, when the Young Bucks need a third to go against the trio of Kenny and the Good Brothers, there are a few choices. But my pick has to be their fellow EVP and member of the Elite, Cody. I know, I'm asking Cody to do a lot before he goes off to become a dad, but a six-man tag match, the Elite versus the Bullet Club, that's the kind of main event marquee match that you just can't miss. And on top of furthering the Bucks Good Brothers rivalry, you could play up the old Kenny Omega Cody Rhodes rivalry from a couple years ago, and it would position whoever wins as the most dominant force in wrestling. Number 4. Full disclosure, I am from Long Island, New York, so I have unconditional love for the former Major Bros. When they were released from WWE, I was so excited to see where they could go next. First, Matt Cardona appears in AEW coming to the aid of Cody, and then Brian Myers signs with Impact. When I started writing this, my idea was that the former tag partners could meet to defend their new brands. But then Cardona shows up at Impact's Hard to Kill pay-per-view and has since appeared at the Impact Zone and teamed with Josh Alexander. I will admit that as much as I would love to see Matt in AEW permanently, he would be a better fit with Impact's current roster. Either way, I still want to see what would happen when these two go at it. And apparently I'm not the only one, because after celebrating their win over Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, Cardona and Alexander encountered a less than pleasant Myers. So, whether the former Zack Ryder sticks around the Impact Zone or returns to AEW, this is a match that we're destined to get, and I hope that we see it soon. 3. If you went back in time to when the Young Bucks started being the Elite and told them that their little travel vlog would lead to the creation of a mainstream wrestling promotion that would rival WWE, they would laugh in your face. And on the same token, if you told Matt Cardona when he started Z True Long Island Story, it would be a revolutionary act that would not only change his career, but wrestling as a whole, he'd probably laugh too. Just look at how many wrestlers today use Twitch, Cameo, and YouTube to connect with fans and cultivate or even expand their following. It all goes back to the success of Z True Long Island Story and BTE. And if we can get Matt Cardona in the ring with the Young Bucks, you know, as well as I do, that bragging rights for changing the professional wrestling landscape will hang in the balance. Now, would it be better to see Cardona take on Nick and Matt one at a time? Or would he have to find a tag partner? He could keep his partnership with Josh Alexander, or you could have him team up with one of his real-life best friends, Cody Rhodes. I don't know which I would be more excited for. Cody and Matt finally teaming, or the battle of the interwebs YouTube guys. Deuces. I've already talked at length about the budding rivalry between the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers. Don Callis and Kenny Omega have blown the secret door between AEW and Impact Wrestling wide open. In the past month, we've seen AEW stars such as Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy, and Private Party invade Impact, and the Good Brothers have come over to AEW to help their former Bullet Club teammates. However, the seeds of distrust are being sown by Don Callis, and it's only a matter of time before the AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, have to take on the Impact Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson. But why stop there? If you look over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, their tag titles are held by Bullet Club lifers Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny. Imagine a six-man tag team triple threat between 3 sets of champions that all have ties to the Bullet Club. And, if you want to take it a step further, we could add Ring of Honor to the mix and add their tag champs Jay Lethal and John Gresham. All the tag champions. We all know that New Japan has been in talks to enter a partnership with AEW. AEW and Impact's relationship has been mutually beneficial, and New Japan has a history of working with Ring of Honor, CMLL, AAA. So seeing this kind of champion versus champion versus champion versus champion match is not totally out of the realm of possibility, and I want to see it desperately.
Honorable mention.
This was just announced, and it may be the most inspired booking I've seen in a long time. After losing his AEW World title, Jon Moxley returned to New Japan, where he currently holds the US Championship, and immediately entered a program with none other than Kenta. For those of you who are more familiar with his WWE persona, Hideo Itami, seeing Kenta go up against a loose cannon like Mox will prove why his first New Japan run was so legendary and how criminally wasted he was in WWE. And now, number 1. When Kenny Omega won the AEW World Heavyweight Championship from Jon Moxley at the start of the year, he and Don Callis rushed out of the building, promising to address the world on Impact. The next Tuesday, Kenny teased his plan to become Wrestling Thanos, comparing collecting titles to collecting comic books and video games when he was a kid. He's already the AAA Mega Champion, and after becoming the third ever AEW Champion, he wasted little time in making an enemy of Impact World Champ Rich Swann. The only thing I want to see in wrestling right now, more than an invasion storyline, is a grand champion. Like when Bobby Lashley won all the titles in TNA Impact, or when New Japan combined 8 titles from across 5 promotions to create the J-Cup. There's nothing quite like seeing one man decked out with all the championship gold. And the groundwork is already laid out for Kenny Omega to become the most decorated champion in wrestling history by the end of this year. So how would we do it? The confusing thing about Impact is that it currently has 2 world champions. The Impact World title is held by Rich Swann, and the TNA World title is held by Moose. So you could have a unification bout between Moose and Rich Swann, and then have Kenny face the winner, or you could have him take on each man separately. Next, have Omega go after the NWA World's Championship. We've already seen the NWA Women's title defended on AEW TV, so it's not that big a stretch to see Nick Aldis on Dynamite with the 10 pounds of gold. Now here's where it gets really interesting. At Wrestle Kingdom this year, Kenny's old tag team partner, Kota Ibushi, picked up both the IWGP Intercontinental and World Championships. So have Kota beat Kenny to either Ring of Honor or CMLL, or both, and pick up their world titles. From there, the story tells itself. You have the final match at Wrestle Kingdom 16. The Golden Lovers, best friends, 2 men who know each other better than anyone else in the world, standing across the ring from one another. And the winner takes away the top title in every major wrestling promotion. AAA, AEW, Impact, CMLL, Ring of Honor, NWA, and New Japan. This is a story that could never happen in WWE. And the more promotions that get involved, the better. Because now you have more eyes on everyone's product because you never know who's going to show up where. And the man that walks away with all that gold will be a legend in the industry forever. Well, there you have it. If you have any matches that you want to see, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And let me know if you want me to do more fantasy booking on this channel. Old storylines or new ones. I don't usually do the whole call to action thing, but I'm going to give it a try. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, maybe subscribe, or share it on social media, and then tag me. As always, I'm Alex for the New Proletariat Theater saying, if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you.